Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to a new video. My name is Evelyn Barta, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. If you have been already here, welcome back. So, in today's video, I want to talk about a few things. There are so many things that are happening in our society, in the world, so I really want to discuss a few of them, but the main thing that I want to touch upon, and not only to touch upon, but to discuss it more in detail, is CERN. So those of you that don't know what CERN is a 22 billion project, and we can say that it's a facility that is located in Switzerland. It's a huge hadron collider, it's a particle collider that was restarted just recently on the 5th of July. So I want to dive into what is the occult and esoteric significance behind that, because there is. And the restarting of this facility is raising lots of questions in the social media community as well. So there are lots of discussions about that, and there are many questions about the safety and security of this project, which is, as I said, a $22 billion project. So it is not only science, we are talking about something much more profound here and much more occult. So it is definitely not what is being presented in the mainstream media. But I will be talking about that a little bit later. So I hope that everybody is doing well energetically, because there is so much emotional healing that is happening in the collective consciousness these days. And I talked about that in my energy update video of July, that there is a deep healing of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So there's a balancing out of these energies. And to be honest, I have been affected these days. Plus, there was a huge heat here, so there was extremely hot these days, and I was just unable to function. I was unable to even record videos, and that's why I said that I'm gonna wait for the temperatures to drop before I record another video. And yeah, I realized that there are so many things that are unhealed in me as well, and in the lower chakras as well. And you cannot really expect of yourself much when you're going through such a healing period. You have to be very compassionate with yourself, and very patient as well, and very understanding, and not to push yourself too much forward, especially at this time of this Cancer season, which is about family and healing lots of family aspects. So there will be lots of things that will come up to the surface, lots of things that will come up from the past as well, that we haven't dealt with, which I also talked about, and sort of presenting us with certain choices, like choosing the old way or choosing the complete opposite of that. So what I have realized is that we are closing a big cycle, as humanity is closing a big cycle, and then individually we are closing a big cycle as well. And the old ways are no longer applicable. If you want to move forward in life, we want to move forward individually and then collectively as well. We need to let go of those coping mechanisms. And this is the tipping point of that. When we will be presented with situations from the past that will show us that the way that you dealt with that in the past is not working now. You have to let go of that. So that's why we need this contrast right now, to see the two opposite sides and to choose which way we want to go. But yeah, this is something that it has been going on for a few months now, and in the past 2 years as well. But I personally feel like this is the tipping point of that. And in this particular season, this Cancer season, there's a big emphasis put on the family unit, and then also the wounded feminine, and then also wounded masculine, but then especially the feminine, like all those feminine wounds, generational wounds. And when we pass that threshold, so to speak, that we choose a different way, like we choose the opposite way of what we have been choosing in the past, then we pass again this threshold that is getting us to a higher level of consciousness, like a higher dimensional thinking, like the higher mind, and we rise above this duality, this polarity, and in a way we become invincible. We become not immortal like physically, but like invincible when it comes to other negative external forces or negative energies. And I'm talking about this, and it will make sense why. It will make sense later on in this video. Okay, so one of the very interesting news that I have come across yesterday, and I believe that many of you have heard of it, was the Georgia Guidestones and what happened to them. So basically, there was an accident there. There was a blowing up of these Guidestones. So someone has put an explosive device there, and it damaged the Guidestones. It damaged them partially, and I think they demolished them now. So they are completely demolished. Now, those of you that don't know what the Georgia Guidestones are, they are the American Stonehenge. They are being called like that as well. They have been called, but no one knows who has placed them there in the middle of nowhere. And they are having written on them very weird guidelines, like basically 10 principles to be followed. And one of them is to keep humanity under 500 million. One of them is that, and then other things related to eugenics, related to maintaining humanity under control, basically keeping humanity under control, and so on. So certain new world order principles basically, and related to population reduction as well. And it's so funny that someone had enough of that, and this was a direct message to those that are initiating this NWO agenda. It was a direct message about what we are thinking about their plan. And none of these mainstream channels, these mainstream outlets are reporting about that. That is so funny as well. So yeah, it was making me so happy to see that. And I think many of us are happy about that. And also that they demolished the whole thing for safety reasons. And yeah, what a fall from grace is that? It's such a fall from grace that we don't even want to report that. However, what is very interesting there also and very weird, that the Guidestones are being surrounded by CCTV cameras. So there are cameras everywhere. Yet they are asking people if they know anything about the person that blew the stones up, to let the authorities know about that. So it's very interesting that they do have the information because they have the footage. I'm 100% sure about that. Yet they are asking people to report the person, or if they have any information about that person, to let the authorities know about that. So it's interesting that they are trying to involve the public, because when the public is being involved in something, then basically those individuals are projecting their consciousness there, like they are involving their consciousness, let's just say, in that particular thing. And because we are talking about a spiritual war, then things have to be in a plain sight. And there's a huge power in that, occult power, in the fact that they can convince a population again to turn against each other. So that is the tactic there. Like, why would you involve the public when you have all the information? It's because you want to turn people against each other. That's why. So let's talk about CERN here, that was restarted on the 5th of July, and that was raising lots of concerns in the public, lots of questions as well about the safety of this facility, which is not a surprise because, yes, we do have all the reasons to be worried about this whole thing. So CERN is a facility, as I said, that is located in Switzerland. And what they are doing with this CERN is that they are smashing particles together to try to obtain what happened during the Big Bang, and to try to find answers to certain scientific questions about our universe and how the universe was created as well. And this facility, this technology was started in 2010, and it was then shut down for 3 years for maintenance and for upgrades as well. And now what they want to do is to start it again. So they started it on the 5th of July, and it will be operating for like 4 years. It will be in full operation for 4 years at 13 tera electron volts. Now you have to know that a tera electron volt is 100 billion electron volts. And this will operate with 13 tera electron volts. So they are basically utilizing energy 5 times of the sun. And they say that they aim to be delivering 1.6 billion proton-proton collisions per second. And they are doing that for new discoveries. And they are going to increase the number of collisions drastically in the upcoming years. Also, the whole reason behind this and what is being presented in the mainstream media is that they want to unlock the secret about the fabric of our reality. So this is what is being presented to the public, that the whole reason behind this project is purely scientific and there's nothing to worry about. However, there were some lawsuits in the past coming from a group of scientists against CERN, saying that they are playing with fire because this whole project can lead to the creation of multiple black holes, and that can be disastrous for our planet. However, there were like some real pushbacks, and apparently they are considering and they are treating CERN as a sovereign entity, as a separate entity. So it's very hard to go against it, against this project with a lawsuit. And I did a reading yesterday on my Patreon, and I got that from there as well, that yes, that is still the case. And it's very hard to go against it right now. That would be almost like going against a country, like a sovereign country, basically. So the name CERN comes, I think, from the central, I don't know if it's the central, the C comes from central, but European Organization for Nuclear Research. And that's very interesting because if we are looking at the occult side of it, CERN is coming also from the Celtic pagan god, which is called Cernunnos. And Cernunnos is a deity that is being associated with the horned god, like the god with the horns. And in many traditions is the god of nature and fertility. And it's embodying this very strong masculine energy, a very masculine energy of a deity that is the god of animals and these weird serpent-like horned entities as well. So this is how it's being presented in the Celtic tradition. So there is a real significance behind why CERN is being called CERN. And Cernunnos is also being mentioned by Shakespeare as the Herne the Hunter, who was the demon and the guardian of the Windsor forest. So it's a demon and a guardian. And also in many traditions is being presented as a god of the underground that is taking care of those souls that are passing away, that are getting into the underground. When we think about CERN, we don't only think about a name that is coming from the European Organization for Nuclear Research. There's more to that. This could have been called differently, this whole project, but no, it was called CERN. Just as a deity is being called that is extremely masculine, and that is, by the way, the god of fertility as well, is being considered the god of fertility, but is also being considered a demon, is also being considered a horned god. And it's also interesting that you start this whole facility now, that you start this whole project at the Cancer season, in the middle of Cancer season, which is a very, very feminine season. There are some very feminine energies that are being activated right now because Cancer is representing fertility, is representing that nurturing motherly energy, which is deeply wounded but is healing right now. So that Empress energy in Tarot, for example, that is that Cancer energy, it's healing. And then you come in the middle of this Cancer season with your CERN energy, that is the symbolism of that masculine deity, that is the antidote of that feminine energy because it's a demonic energy. You are coming in with that, and then you are bulldozing down all those feminine aspects now that are wanting to heal at this point. So we have to understand that these higher levels of science always merge with mysticism, which people don't understand. People don't understand the esoteric significance behind these things, and they say that there's nothing to be afraid of because it's just science. This scientific materialism is so in full swing right now that we don't understand our own consciousness. And these people that are facilitating these things and are behind these projects think that if people are so stupid that they are not even capable of understanding their own consciousness and they are not able to ask questions, then they do deserve this, then they do deserve to be fooled. So that might is right mentality that is being invested in people being occult illiterate, and they are counting on that. They are counting on people not seeing through what is happening. They are counting on the fact that we are so immersed deeply into the scientific materialism that we are unable to connect the dots even when things are being presented to us in plain sight. So we are opting into this reality with our free will. And this is what they are counting on, like presenting the facts to you, because why would you have a Shiva statue at the front of the facility? Why would you have that? Why would you have this occult symbolism there if there's nothing occult about what you are doing? And then there was also something really weird that happened there. It was like circulating on the internet a footage with a weird satanic ritual as well in front of that Shiva statue like a few years ago, and then obviously they said that that was fake as well, and there's nothing true about that. But they were basically mimicking human sacrifice there in that ritual.
There's a group of men coming out in more traditional Swiss garb of red and white with large sticks. Now they're horns, aren't they?
Yes, and, and look, the devil is right there. And now the devil has emerged in the back of the formation as a goat. It's wearing a goat head, like a ram.
So wearing a goat outfit with the ram's horns and everything.
I saw him. All right, so now this, there's Lucifer now.
Lucifer looks again. Look, the devil is coming out of that portal.
Right, so you got a guy, an actual person on the stage dressed as a goat who is portraying Satan.
You see the Egyptian scarabs there?
Yes.
Yeah, what are those things?
Those are Egyptian scarabs. Those are for devouring the dead.
All right, I thought, what are these beetles? They look like three big beetles.
They're Egyptian scarabs.
And there's three of them, just like there was three spirits and the three miners that got sacrificed.
Right, look, the clock is now, this is weird because I'm talking about the end of days, and now there's a giant clock on the video screen on the stage in Switzerland, and it's clearly they're telling us something about time.
It keeps stopping at 9:15, 9:10, 9:20.
So there was a proper ceremony there, like almost like an opening of the portals of hell, or kind of like a Stargate almost. There was like a proper symbolism there for that they used in this ceremony. So this CERN project, this facility, this technology is very, very concerned about the theological aspects of finding the God particle. They call it the God particle, that particle that created our universe, our cosmos. That is very interesting. And then also it's very interesting that CERN has an art department that is very, very well founded with a large budget for media. So they are investing a lot of money in that art department, and they are also doing competitions and incentives for artists to work for them. So the question is, why would a scientific research facility have such a large budget for the art department and such a big focus on art performances if they don't have anything occult? Why would they want to focus so much on art that is presenting things in plain sight if they didn't have anything to do with anything esoteric or anything occult? Why would they do that? And many people don't know about this, but back in 2018, there was a big competition, like an incentive sort of thing, involving lots of artists to design tarot cards for CERN. And there was an artist that actually won this competition, and they designed a tarot deck for CERN. So what is that if not something esoteric, if not something occult that is working with the human consciousness? So that tarot deck actually was built in CERN. It's insane. It's a scientific research facility that is having this department where these weird artists are designing a tarot deck for them, a tarot deck for the public, for the population. And actually, I was looking at these tarot cards, and they have some very, very concerning messages on them. So it is an enigma for me. How is that possible that such a thing can exist in plain sight and yet people still aren't capable to connect the dots? So, for example, I wanted to show you a few of these cards. So the Justice card is talking about a one-world government and is citing something from Bertrand Russell from 1931, saying that war can only be abolished by the establishment of a world government, saying that all the research of psychoanalysis and biochemistry will be brought into play. The society of experts will control propaganda and education. It will teach loyalty to the world government and make nationalism high treasure. Like, what are these messages? What is that? How can this exist? And then we have the Five of Swords that is talking about Google and is saying that entire web stored in Google database, cooperation with governments and CIA, files on world population's genetic data, online domination, total control. It's almost like if you want to know what is the plan of these elites and the deep state and what is this new world order about, then you just have to pick up this deck, basically. You just have to pick up this tarot deck and then you will have the insight, because they are telling you, like in plain sight, they are telling you what they are planning. So yeah, why would you have like a tarot deck like that if you don't have anything to do with the occult? If you are not working with cosmology? So I think it's very, very clear what is going on here. And in terms of CERN, so I no wonder that people are so concerned about what is going on there, because there are some real serious environmental issues that can be caused by CERN. But I am more concerned about, again, like the occult significance, and then also the quantum significance and the quantum consequences as well, and energetic consequences of this facility, of this technology. Because again, we are talking about technology here, like an artificial attempt to mimic something that is organic. And basically what this CERN is doing at this high level of energy that is working with is that it's trying to mimic psychic abilities. It's almost like creating a device that can thin the veil. It's like a shortcut to the psychic development. And what this can also do is that it can alter the natural condition of the earth and the vibrational frequency of the earth as well. So to lower the vibrational frequency of the earth. And when that happens, that can directly connect the earth to the lower astral level. So again, like we are talking about the eighth sphere here, the eighth sphere that was mentioned many times by Rudolf Steiner. And those of you that don't know what is the eighth sphere, I do have a video on that. And the eighth sphere is basically the fourth dimension. So it's the lower fourth dimensional level. So the fourth dimensional plane is not only made by the eighth sphere, but the eighth sphere is a section of it, let's just say. Like it's the lower plane of it, it's the lower side of it. And it's the chaos plane. Is the plane of chaos, the fourth dimension in general, because you have so many timelines that are being aligned next to each other and then interconnected as well. So there are multiple timelines that you can choose from. And that is why for so many years, like for such a long time, humans were thinking, and the spiritual community as well was thinking, that we are going into the fourth dimension, actually, that this is our destination. Going, like not literally, but like ascending, elevating our consciousness to the fourth dimension. but it's actually not the fourth dimension, it's the fifth dimension, because the fourth dimension is serving as a bridge between the third and the fifth dimension. So the fourth dimension is like the mirror realm, where all these different entities, low vibrational entities, are residing as well. And this is the plane that we are connecting into, that we are tuning into when we are in our dream state. So what this CERN can do is to alter the natural frequency of the earth and to create a mass chaos on a vibrational level, on an energetic level. So it will connect the earth to this lower astral plane, to the eighth sphere, we can say. So therefore, what it can do is to mess with the human consciousness, to affect the consciousness. And it's almost like an attack on the human consciousness. And therefore, your dream state, so the dream state, can be affected as well. Because if you are receiving information from the dream state and you are projecting your consciousness there, and you have all these weird thoughts and you are connecting to the lower astral, then basically you have connected yourself and you tuned into a different timeline as well. A different timeline that is connected to the lower astral level. And what they are doing, what is the goal of these entities, is to secure the earth into a lower level where they can feed upon it parasitically, because these entities are parasitic, so they are unable to generate energy for themselves. They need to feed on humanity's consciousness, on these energies. And I talked about that as well in my previous video, so on the 8th sphere video and then the 4th dimension video as well. So in order to understand it better, and if you haven't watched that, then please watch those videos. So what I believe that this facility, this CERN, is doing is to mess with psychic abilities as well, and then therefore receiving information from higher astral entities. And then also to mess with your trauma healing, with the initiation through the healing of trauma and karma, so to speak. But this is just one consequence of messing with your consciousness. So yeah, it is a sort of an attack on the human consciousness. But the thing is that paradoxically, it can help you to become a better psychic as well, because by something external messing with your psychic abilities can help you to develop a better discernment as well. Because when you connect to these entities, when you are channeling information, the only way that you can perceive them to be lower or higher astral being is by reading their energy. So by only being able to read energy properly, you can identify if someone is having positive or negative intentions. So it can actually make you a better psychic. And the thing about this technology, because it's artificial, it's not organic, it's just mimicking something organic, is that it only works in a section of the consciousness. It cannot do anything real to a big portion of your consciousness, to an organic, high-functioning consciousness. A high-functioning consciousness can never be affected by anything artificial like this. So that is why there's no reason for us, because I have heard things like, all the starseeds will be affected, all the psychics will be affected by this, and it's really concerning. I would say that there's no reason to be concerned about this when you have like a heart-centered spirituality, like a grounded spirituality. And even many ancient texts are talking about this, all these artificial attacks. And ancient texts are saying that there's nothing external that can affect you when you have a strong pillar, because it's all about resonance. It's all about vibrational frequency. So these parasitic beings need something to be attached to. And if you're not a vibrational resonance with them, then they cannot. So it's all about resonance, and as above, so below. So that is why it's important to have the spiritual hygiene and to be in your heart, because being in your heart creates this very strong pillar. And that is why your heart is at the center of your body, because it puts you in the right psychic position. Because through your heart, you are getting information from the cosmos, which is future information, is creative information that is coming through by downloads or by visions. But your heart is the one that is connecting to this information. And then it's also getting information from the earth, from below, let's just say. And that is the information from the past. That is information that already happened. So it connects you with the cosmos, and then it also connects you with the earth. And you need to be right in the middle with your lower chakras and higher chakras being balanced as well. Because when you're not in the middle and you're losing your position, that starts to destabilize you. So these things can attach to you and can get to you. But you can always bounce back and you can always find the middle again. So the feminine aspect is the cosmos, we can say, and the masculine aspect is what you are receiving from the earth. So future and past, and they need to be in balance. So feminine and masculine need to be in balance. Intellect and wisdom need to be in balance. As above, so below. So you have to have this inspired but grounded spirituality in this space of neutrality, so nothing artificial can get to you, nothing that is being generated artificially. And when you get to that threshold that I was talking about in the beginning of the video, that threshold of the fifth dimension, that heart-centeredness, that heart-centered position is basically that threshold, then you rise above duality. And in the chart of Dr. David Hawkins, which I always refer to in the past, is the level of joy, is 540 or something like that, that level of healing, where this polarity disappears. And when you are in that space of healing, that heart-centeredness, then there's nothing that can affect your consciousness. It can affect only a small portion of it. So you have to keep that in mind and not being afraid of CERN, but focusing on your heart and being there. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about in this video, because it's going to be long again, is what I understood of this CERN that is doing. And after doing my research and connecting the dots, and then also I received some downloads as well in regards to that, is that, again, it's trying to mimic this organic evolution, organic psychic abilities, and then also is trying to create certain portals and almost like creating some artificial stargates. And stargates are portals that are trying to bridge different civilizations and then different dimensions as well. So they are almost like bridges between different dimensions. And when we talk about different dimensions, we actually talk about different civilizations as well. Or we are talking about different planetary spheres as well. Because each planetary sphere in our solar system is representing a different level of consciousness. So it's a different dimension as well, is representing a different dimension. So certain planets are representing humanity's future, and then other planets are representing humanity's past as well. So the thing about these portals and stargates is that they are organic stargates and organic portals, and they are inorganic portals as well that are being created artificially. So when the cosmos is going through different cycles in order to understand itself, and it's evolving through going through different cycles, and we are going through different cycles together with the cosmos and together with the planets, because the planets are doing the same with the cosmos, right? So there's like an enmeshing of cycles here and energies, but we are representing the cosmos as well. So we are a representation of the cosmos, because inside of us there's another cosmos. So when this happens, then these stargates and portals are being created organically. So the cosmos is moving through these cycles and then is going in awareness, into awareness, and then out of awareness. So it's a dance, like in order to understand itself. And these portals and these stargates open and close for various periods of time, and they connect the planets with different parts of the cosmos. So they are basically bridging the gap between the planets and the different parts of the cosmos. So this is what a natural stargate portal system means. And this portal system opens and closes following a natural rhythm, following some natural organic principles. And that's why it cannot be just created artificially. So we are perceiving these different manifestations of the cosmos, let's just say, and the movement of the cosmos and the densification. We are perceiving this through time. And that's why we are calling like different epochs the way we are calling it, because this is how we are perceiving these changes in the cosmos through time. This is a linear third dimensional perception. And we are also perceiving these changes through different astrological planetary transits, right? And when this happens, like the portals, as I said, are opening and closing. So what they are trying to do with CERN now is to mimic that natural organic opening and closing of a portal. So they want to create a stargate, they want to create a portal now, and they want to achieve what a civilization would achieve, or what some high dimensional beings would achieve by utilizing an organic portal. And they will never achieve the same thing. They will never achieve the same thing because this is an inferior technology compared to that organic creation of the portals. It is a limited technology because the highest form of technology is your consciousness, and that's why you are functioning as a portal as well. For example, your third eye is functioning as a portal. So what this technology is trying also to do to mess with your third eye. So basically, even when you are not understanding or realizing that you are using portals, you are using portals. Because when you are channeling information, you are using a portal. You create a portal with your pineal gland, with your third eye. When you are astral traveling, when you are astral projecting, you are basically journeying to a different dimension there. So again, you are using your third eye as a portal to project your consciousness somewhere else. So you do have the ability to travel throughout the cosmos with your third eye, and by having an out-of-body experience. And this inferior technology is only mimicking that. And it's also trying to mess with your natural portals and your ability to create these natural portals. Okay, so this technology CERN, even though it's trying to mimic that organic stargate, it is not reaching the places, it cannot reach the places that are aligned with a high functioning consciousness. It doesn't have the ability to do that. So it is not a clean system that can reach certain places, because the Earth as well has to be in a specific cycle of awakening in order to utilize a stargate. And in order to utilize a stargate, you have to be a vibrational match to that stargate. So what they are creating with CERN is a low vibrational stargate that can only go low. So yes, it does attempt to mess with your consciousness. It does attempt to attack your consciousness as well, but it cannot reach it when you are in this fifth dimensional high level of consciousness, when you are in your heart center. It cannot see you. It cannot affect you. So yes, this technology, CERN, is a fourth dimensional technology. It cannot go higher than that. Even though they admitted at some point that they are trying to contact higher dimensions, and they are trying to understand higher dimensions with that as well. But they cannot go higher than the fourth dimension because they don't have the capacity to do that. They don't have, for that you need an organic evolution or organic initiation, which they are skipping. Basically, they are trying to find shortcuts, but it's not working. Okay, so this is what I wanted to say in today's video. This is all I wanted to talk about. I think I said everything that I wanted. It was a little bit of an abstract concept, especially the Stargate part. This is something that I'm still trying to understand, and I'm learning about it. But in a nutshell, this was my understanding. So thank you everybody for being here, and everybody who is supporting my channel on Patreon or otherwise as well. If you want to support my channel, you can do it on Patreon. Check out what I'm posting there, and if you like it, you're more than welcome to join. And thank you so much for all your emails and messages. I wanted to let you know that even though I don't reply sometimes to all of them because I don't have time, but I read them and I see them, and I'm very grateful for everybody who is reaching out. So guys, take care, and I cannot wait to see you next time.